Hello, everybody. Oh, you look gorgeous, Kate. Oh,
My
Kate,
soiree.
you. We'll be getting to that shortly. You win as you always do, Kate. Oh, I wish I had a thing on my head. Oh, I suppose I've got little things on my head. Lovely to. Yeah, you got a big thing on your head, mate. You got a big thing on your head. It is lovely to see. Oh, colleagues, look at all our friends here. This is fantastic. Oh, this is great stuff. Oh, and I see a very handsome man that's joining us from an undisclosed location. Good morning, Professor Quentin.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Bit of forward jacket work there, Jamie. That's impressive. Oh, we've got Catherine in. Oh, we can nearly go Dr. Damo, can't we? We can nearly go Dr. Damo. How are you,
Hopefully,
Damien?
I'm well. How are you, Tara?
And brother, congratulations on the job. Now, in the shower this morning, when I so often think of you, in the shower this morning, I thought, is there any chance of them telling you before the shutdown? So today's quite significant.
I I don't think so. I'm banking on early in the new year. I've sort of resigned myself to that's the likely likely timeline.
Oh, mate, but
Um,
what a year you've had. What a triumph, brother.
Cheers, thanks, Tara.
Fantastic. Oh, brilliant. And both of our Susans are in. Oh, this is joyous. So, hello, Susan L from New York City. We have missed you terribly. How are you, my darling?
I'm doing fine from New York City. Thank you, Tara.
Oh, there's been some political events that have occurred since we were last together as a family. So we are all sending good energy to you
Oh,
and doing my monkeys for the next 4 years. And we should also say hello, Susan, to the other glorious Susan who is joining us from Jamaica. Susan, it's been a
Hi.
hard year for you, Angel. We are thinking of you. Are you okay?
Yeah, man, I'm fine. Thanks.
You are very, very precious to us. Hang in there. Well, we've got an amazing group of people. So what I'm about to do is we're about to start. And Jack, I did see Jack somewhere. Oh, Jack. So, Jack, on the whiteboard, I added what we discussed yesterday. It's on the whiteboard, Jack. So if it's on the whiteboard, it's real. So I'm just going to make sure I've got everybody up. We've got a huge number of people here. This is astonishing. Um, yeah, so Cecily, you can record the meeting. That's I'm approving things, Cecily. That's fantastic. So colleagues, we've got an amazing group of people here. I thought it would be Jackie, Damo, Kate, and I having a conversation today. Oh, so Cecily, I'm approving that again. That's fantastic. Okay, so team. Oh, hello, Cecily. I've just seen your Autobot. How are you going, Cecily?
Well, thank you. I'm a newbie to the to your group, but I've been looking at your post and your blogs for years, and it's been very, very useful, very helpful.
Well, you look so glamorous today as well, and you look like you're coming from heaven, Cecily. That is a fantastic. Those clouds are calming me enormously, Cecily. But it's lovely to finally meet you, you superstar. So welcome to it. So look, we have clicked onto 10 o'clock, so I will make a start, and I'm so thrilled to see all my old friends here. Oh, Shay's here. Now, we can't do this gig without Shay, as you know. Oh, and there's the bloody whiteboard. Good on you, Shay. So, look, colleagues, hello. Yes, and welcome to the Whiteboard Soiree 2024. And look, we'll do this. So wherever you are in the world, and my brother Thomas is there, my brother Liam is here, whatever time zone you're in, whatever adult beverage you would prefer, cheers to you for, oh, this will be good. That is so strong. That's fantastic. I'll be bouncing off the wall shortly. So, colleagues, whatever adult beverage you are using at this particular point, whatever time zone you join us, you are so, so welcome. We've got colleagues in the middle of the night, we've got colleagues during the day, and Kate wants to talk to me already. Good morning, Kate.
I I just want to explain my headdress.
Yes, obviously.
When I read it's a soiree, I didn't know what a soiree was. And when I looked it up, it means you dress in your finest evening wear or whatever, even though it's early morning Sydney. So I thought I'd wear it anyway.
Well, you look magnificent, and you received the instructions so effectively, because it is a soiree and it is about glamour wherever you are on the glamour continuum for 2025. But Jack is always glamorous. Jack has, I think, the best hair in the Southern Hemisphere. It looks so glamorous this morning, Jackster. You are a superstar. And Di, I'm noting the very fashion-forward work that happened with your hair this morning. It is outstanding. So, look, colleagues, we're thrilled to have you with us. I will present an acknowledgement of country, acknowledging the traditional owners of all the lands on which we meet today, elders past, present and emerging, and any Indigenous colleagues with us today. And this year, the Whiteboard Soiree is coming from my particular location in Aotearoa, New Zealand. So I wish to acknowledge and pay respects to Tangata Whanua. As a humble tāwiwi, I have enjoyed the privilege of being a part of this remarkable community, and I never take that for granted. And I thank my Māori colleagues for the incredible kindness that they show me every day. All right, well, let's now just present a couple of things that we're going to be talking about. So firstly, this is about you. This is incredibly relaxed, even considering how much caffeine is in that coffee that I'm drinking. This is a relaxed environment, and you are so welcome to be digitally with us. So I'm aware all sorts of things happen with people in their physicality and dysphoria and so forth, but please feel free to enliven your screen and so we can see you and your fabulousness. I get to meet Cecily for the first time, which is tremendous. Mary has joined us from what I believe is about 3 a.m. in Perth. So good morning, Mary. What time is it in Perth?
5 a.m. Not too
5
bad.
a.m. I wish I looked as good as you do at 5 a.m. in the morning. Fantastic, but you're so well, Mary. Thank you for getting up. I saw your wonderful husband has got up with you too, for which I apologise. So, colleagues, let's get into it. So this is the Whiteboard Soiree, and as I just said to Susan L., look, 2025 is going to be a tough year. We know that, but the gift of going into it, knowing it's going to be tough, is that we can plan. We've got a lot of colleagues that are moving through some very difficult university environments, very difficult employment environments, and all we've got is each other. And all we've got is that peer support to lift each other up, support each other, help each other read, help each other write, cite each other's work, and be supportive at a time of a lot of darkness on planet Earth. So perhaps this Whiteboard Soiree has never been more meaningful and important than it is right now. And so the wonderful people you see on this call, as I always say, several marriages will be formed, but most importantly, I hope several friendships will be formed, and we're meeting people for the first time and support us all through what could be quite a dark few years. But all I can say to you, colleagues, is in dark times, intelligence matters, expertise matters, and yes, you matter. So let's get into this. Let's get ourselves organised, because Shay's obviously got her whiteboard ready to rumble, as she always does. Shay, great. I was going to go, and Shay, great hair. Can I say great hair? It's a bit of a hair forward gig this year. I can see that. So colleagues, let's do the methodology for those of you who haven't been here before, and we start wherever you are. So if you haven't got a whiteboard, you poor person, but if you haven't got a whiteboard and you've got a big bit of paper, that's great. Where this gig starts is you get a big bit of paper and all the ideas that you have that you think might be useful to write 1,000 words, write an article, write a book, put those on a bit of paper. And they may be, for our colleagues that are in the middle of a thesis, it may be heavily nested in what your thesis is on. But it may be about scholarship of teaching and learning, a SOTL piece. I see wonderful Liam's in. We'd love to have a SOTL piece from Liam, obviously. We've also got SOS opportunities, scholarship of supervision. Thomas, you and I have promised we're going to write that at some point. Maybe this is the year for the scholarship of supervision piece, brother. So be expansive. Stretch. And to quote Jackie in my conversation over the last week, don't allow the metrics and the ranking of journals and all these other people tell you what you should be doing. center yourself, understand your values, your goals, and who your audiences are. And that is what we're going to do. Okay, so we start with a bit of paper. And if we do nothing else today but get everybody with a bit of paper, get Stacey moving with the paper and get some ideas on the paper. You got the paper, have you, Stace? Oh, hi, Donna. I'm just muting you for a second, Donna, because I think there might be an echo. But Stacey, that's great. So we're using a bit of paper with you. So what we're going to aim on, Stacey, and we'll keep returning to you, the ideas that you think there's something there. That's what we're putting on the bit of paper at this point. Tremendous. So colleagues, if you're at the whiteboard stage, so Shay's in the house. So we're at the whiteboard stage. Here's one I had earlier, and this is my actual whiteboard. So what we do, colleagues, those of you that do the ritualistic wiping down of the whiteboard during this period, this is the time to do it. Shay, has yours already been wiped down? Do you want to wipe it down? Because, I mean, last year your wiping down became sort of the mythic commencement of the gig. So for those of you that are wiping it down, now is the time to wipe it down. There are 3 headings that we're going to put in place on your whiteboard or your bit of paper. And they are, the top is here, to be published. The middle is under review, so that's under some form of peer review. And the bottom bit is accepted or to be published, right? So there are 3 headings. Now, Thomas, mate, if you've got stuff that's already been accepted, you've got stuff that's already been accepted for next year, you fill that in now. That goes at the bottom of the whiteboard. So I've got some of those damn book chapters that people have been, I don't know, Jack, have you got any of these? I wrote them like 2 years ago, and these books are gonna, coulda, shoulda. It looks like this is the year. So they're down there in the red. I've got, I think, 3 in the middle zone of currently under review. Everything closed. And then a very top heavy board. So colleagues, the goal is we start top heavy and the goal is to end up bottom heavy. And look, there's a sort of, Jess, that's sort of like a nutritional life lesson anyway, isn't it, for 2025? Start top heavy and just, we all know gravity's going to work, right? So the point of this system is to enable momentum. Okay, so that you're not going, why am I doing this? God, this is pointless. It's not pointless because you're seeing movement on the board. No judgment, just movement. That's the goal. So let's start somewhere. Look, we've got colleagues that are early career researchers. We've got colleagues just finishing their master's degree with wonderful Mary, people that are professional researchers, the wonderful Susan Ells with us today, and of course, incredibly senior colleagues who are not as close to death as I am, but are relatively close. So look, I will start with my mate Jack, because we all love Jack. We'll start with Jack. Jack, look, bloody hard year, mate. What's, as a senior colleague, what is your vision or vista going into the next year, mate?
Oh, hi everyone, and thanks, Tara. I feel
Love
like a rabbit in the headlights.
No.
Well, I'm all about disasters. That's my gig, my thing. I wrote an article that's in press at the moment, listening in disasters, how politicians don't listen in disasters, and how they could change their approach to listening in disasters. But I think I need to do some more work in that area, some more theorization around listening. It was more a kind of, there was theory in there, but it was more drawing from interviews with senior emergency managers around the world, where they incidentally talked about this idea of listening in disasters. I think there's some good theory to happen there. And, I've never really thought of myself as a real theoretical person, but I think I can get into it.
So Jack, that's a remarkable thing for me, and again, a trope or methodology for people in the applied social sciences. So you had a data set and you took it for a ride this year, and it was very clear that the data set was interesting, but you are needing a framework around it to make it dance. And so you're already aware one of your tropes is going to be doing some theoretical work on disasters. That's brilliant. Is there any other way, Jack, that you configure priorities for a year, or they sort of happen, man?
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing, Tara. That's been the, I guess, underlying melody of my life, really. Well, maybe more the rhythm. The melody is something else, but the rhythm has just been take opportunities as they arise and grab things as they come along. And I've never really planned my career. It's just kind of happened. And I think people are in a different state now where they actually have to really plan their career. I'm probably at the other end of my career, winding down, so I'm lucky I get to do things like think about theories and, think about, well, where can I take this idea? I'm not on that kind of churn mill that a lot of people find themselves on when they're in the early career or mid-career and trying to build their the next 20 or 30 years of their career. So I do a bit of planning. This session is really helpful, but things happen during the year and I just take those opportunities as they come along.
So I think, Jack, you're a legend, and again has confirmed, firstly, the universe has changed when we were lasses. So the importance of planning and having control of a chaotic environment. So everything's chaotic around you, but you have control of the whiteboard. But as Jack has reminded us, and it's so crucial, and as I said, I added our article yesterday, the gift of the whiteboard is that it's a dynamic protocol. So if a gift does occur, one of those weird book chapters or a keynote that becomes something in proceedings, you can take advantage of it. So it is a dynamic feast. So Jack, that's brilliant. So that's a great series of ideas and strategies for us. Well done, Jack. Look, can we go to Damo, because Damo is important here. I have been worried about you, excited for you and all your achievement, but brother, I have been worried too, because, Damo's got this big, fantastic new job and we're so excited for him. His thesis is currently under examination, but for the older people on the call, he's about to go into that first academic job and we all know what's going to happen to him. So look at poor Jack. Jack and I, do we go CQU, Jack? Look, she starts crying uncontrollably. So Damo, what your plan, let me just, you're my mate, your plan for this year will never matter more than for this year. So what have you got going on, Damo?
I'm sort of operating in two separate streams. One is my thesis, which I've got the book proposal written and I'll send it as soon as I get examiner comments. And I've got a whole bunch of publications. I've got about 6 other publications that will come out of my interviews because I have 200,000 words of transcripts that I have to do something with. But because my job is very much in my professional industry field, which was public relations and advertising, I'm also now building from something I had to drop from my thesis, which was the publicity of Australian television.
Oh, yes.
I'm getting to build a program of research in public relations and communications practice in creative and entertainment industries. So I've already got 2 survey-based projects developing in partnership with a few senior academics that are focusing on these practices. And I have something on academic Twitter as well. And I've got about 12 or 13 publications planned for this year. So we'll see how I go across those 2 streams. One very much for fitting in with my new job and building that program of research that fits, and the other one taking advantage of all the data I have for my PhD.
That's absolutely perfect. You saw everyone just nodding at you like you're an absolute legend, which you are. Damo, if it helps you, and I thought we'd go going straight to Jamie in a second because it sounded like an earlier version of you, Jamie, to be honest with you, when you left your PhD. Damien, the only advice the old head would give you is clean up the doctoral research as quickly as you can. I'm getting nods around the room because that suddenly dates. And when you're in one of these catastrophic jobs, what's a timely bit of research, you get exhausted, and then 2 years later, the data set's not quite as edgy. So just have my dulcet tones in your head, clean up the PhD data set, do that work, have the new projects going as well, because before we turn round, Damo, mate, we're going to be in next December, you and I, you'll still be looking as glamorous as always, obviously, but you will be tired.
Yeah, I'm anticipating a very intense year.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is if you've got an hour, maybe for the first 3 months, give yourself the priority of cleaning up the doctoral work out to publishing. Just work the middle bit of the board, mate. Work the middle bit of the board for me, all right?
Yeah.
Now, Jamie, you had a similar situation where you had a great thesis, you got about 8 articles out of it, and the seed of the next set of publications came from it. What would you say to Damien, mate?
Congratulations, Damien. No one ever tells you when you're a PhD student that once you finish your PhD, your life changes, and that's when the flaming chainsaw juggling act starts, really. So, what I will tell you is when you start your next job, nobody expects you to hit the ground running. So you do have the ability, it takes, 6 to 9 months roughly to get some sort of feel for the space you're playing in. So during that time is a good idea to take what you've done in your PhD and publish that. So you just keep the momentum building, you just keep going, and then transition into the new role and the publishing from the new role. And as Tara said, the longer you drag it, the harder it is, and that's absolutely true.
Yeah, and in the sciences it dates, but I think in the applied social sciences, looking at Jack for the data set as well, it does move at speed. Damien, what would you say to Jamie?
I was just saying thank you. It's really good advice. And in fact, in the interview for the job, I asked them, what does 6 months of success look like and what does 12 months of success look like? And it was pretty much that answer. They said, get yourself familiar, and by 12 months we want to see some work in this field.
Yeah, your new employers definitely want to see progress, right? They're investing in you to get progress for them, I guess. But they care about the quality of what's produced, and you can't do that straight away.
Yeah, exactly.
Well said. That's so Damien, we're all with you. We'll all support you. We'll all cite you. We'll make sure you get as much disco lighting around your expertise as we can, because you're very, very special to us. You're a legendary person.
Being recorded.
How are you, Donna? Poor Donna. Donna, we're waving at you. Raven, you superstar. We've got a little bit of echo. Should we check in with Shay? Because obviously we can't run a Whiteboard soirée without Shay. Shay, now, what's the state of your? I live vicariously through you, Shay. You've worked that out, obviously, over many years. But what's the state of your Whiteboard? Tell us about this last year and where we're heading, Shay.
This is going to be an interesting year for me. Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm so inspired by you all. So lovely to be here. This is the year where what I'm doing is I've created a framework for actioning my doctoral work into materials for practitioners. Oh. So I'm writing andragogical and pedagogical materials, which will be teacher training materials, and metacognitive curriculum. So not a new subject, but a way to teach knowledge through across the stages. So that's my goal. That's my project for myself. So it's a big project, and out of that will come some articles in the journal that belongs to the institute that I'm part of. So it's kind of one project with lots of little legs. I'm keeping it that way. One project with lots of legs.
Now, I'm loving that. I think it's a brilliant strategy. And again, you're presenting great methodologies for people to select. You can make a decision noting your very bespoke relationship with the Institute and all the incredible work that's being done there, and your specific role there. You can take a year and go, this year we're doing practitioner-led research, what in some circumstances I call learning-led research too, and go, this is the year where that is the clustering or the nesting of my research. I think that's brilliant, Shay. So what does your Whiteboard look like? Is it very top heavy, or it's got some movement? What's going to be happening?
Well, there's a couple of articles that are already been submitted, so I'm looking forward to those. And I did quite a few collaborations last year, and I'm actually winding those out, because this year I want to work completely on my own and stay focused, because I like the independence and the timing of that. I first published on my own, and then I collaborated for a little while. And Look, I love my colleagues, but it's now time for me to just do my own work again. And there's probably a book chapter coming out of that. So I'm just keeping it really focused. Focus for me this year. Focus.
Now, I think, again, I can't believe the scope and scale of the expertise people are offering here. This is transformative andragogy, this. So for colleagues who are practitioner-led, I know I've got a lot of mates of mine that are social workers doing fantastic work, people in allied health. I'm sure we've got fantastic nurses and midwives on this, yes, on this call. I saw not only Kate, I think Eunice is on the call as well, so I'm terribly excited. So for those colleagues working on the interface with incredibly important professions in difficult times, making 2025 the year of interface management, I'll use the dreadful word stakeholder engagement, making the dissemination of research operate in different ways. I think that's great, Shay. And also, colleagues, if you're doing the nitros, if you're doing creative-led practices, obviously all of that goes on here too. I'm not saying, refereed articles and scholarly monographs. This is a dissemination plan, wherever that dissemination may be. And look, can I go to my brother from another mother? Can I go to Thomas, who I love more than life? I don't see Thomas and Liam nearly enough, two of the four horsemen of the zombie apocalypse. Now, Thomas, where are you at? We had a few conversations in the first half of the year. What's happened, mate?
Lots of things have happened. So I think I somehow got my cake and can eat it too. So I persuaded the powers that be and the deities of death and destruction to let me be an online remote assistant professor. So we're going to ride that horse as long as we possibly can. And I moved back home to Texas. So that's been the big change of the year.
And your husband is doing his doctorate?
He is enrolled, wrapping up an undergrad.
Oh, that's bad. But that's still the plan?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is fantastic. So noting the complexity of the remote work environment, I wish I could say I'd planned this, Jack, that I actually planned this particular scenario, but noting the remote work while supporting your husband, what's the research plan for you this year? What's the whiteboard? I'm trying to look at the whiteboard. There's stuff on it, mate. What's going on with the whiteboard?
There's so much on it right now. It's kind of a disaster. It's cleaning house this year. So I did like 3 months of data analysis on just data sets that I had collected as a grad student, like my first couple years as a assistant professor, and I got all of the method results and hypothesis testing done. And so I have a bunch of like shells of articles like all lined up for me to work on this year. But I think the thing that changed a lot that wasn't necessarily, because most of my work is already pretty digital. So the actual process of doing research hasn't changed too much for me, except now I have more time to do it. But I have like a ton of research assistants now and grad students now. And so I had to split my whiteboard this year in a way that I hadn't, because I have to track their projects where I'm like second or last author on, and I have to track my own actual research. And so like the plates are spinning this year.
Oh, well, so between the plate spinning and the flaming chainsaws, Jamie, have you seen how brilliantly Thomas has done that whiteboard noting? I mean, that would be a great methodology for experimental scientists to work the lab on the whiteboard.
So I always like methodical, systematic thinking. And I can see that. Well done, Thomas.
Oh, Thomas, mate, that is phenomenal. Again, in terms of I'm using the word methodology a lot, but in terms of the methodology, are you doing the low-hanging fruit strategy? So you've got the husks or the shells. Are you filling the most full shell and sending it on its way? Are you working out what's the closest to going out, finish out?
Yep, exactly. That has been, because I've had to write my 4th year pre-tenure portfolio this semester. So like I haven't had the space to do any heavy lit review, theoretical lifting, introduction section stuff.
Yeah.
And so I've pretty much just like set myself up for 25. So now I can just plug and play all of the articles, because I got all of the like meaty stuff done, all the number stuff done.
Absolutely true. Well, Thomas, I tell you what, you are ready to rumble, mate. Can we keep informed and keep in touch with you about how that method operates? I think that will help experimental scientists enormously, that this is your whiteboard, but it's also a tracking whiteboard for co-authorship as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is tremendous, can I say, in terms of research integrity and avoiding breaches and so forth.
It's so much to keep track of that I'm tired of like getting surprised and going, oh shoot, you are working on that article. Like we need to like go back to the so having it this way and then separate it out keeps me focused on that individual research that Shay was talking about, where I can start pulling stuff down immediately. And then I can also in the periphery like watch, okay, how's this grad student doing? This thing hasn't moved yet. I need to go check in and do a lift.
Right, you've changed the world again, Thomas, that you've added a whole new parameter to this exercise since I started 25, 30 years ago. So you are a legend, Thomas. That's changing our lives. And look, should we go to the other horseman of the zombie apocalypse that's like joining us from late night Manchester? Liam, I just saw what's happened to the University of Bolton, or should I say the University of Greater Manchester. So bits of me, I'm quite teary. I'm quite upset about it. So I just found out about an hour before we come in here. So, but joining us from the northwest of England, Liam, we're so excited to hear what's happening. You've got this amazing new job. You've been promoted. You've got all these different leadership roles and program leadership. Tell us about your whiteboard and research and how you're traveling, brother.
Hello and welcome from Greater Manchester. It's really lovely to be here, and it's actually at a really reasonable time because it's only 9:30 in the evening in the UK. So I love this. I'm actually awake, and I'm in a different house as well. So I've got a house with my partner now. So it's a very different space from the blue. What I just wanted to say, yeah, giant water. Oh, is that water or is that gin?
Look,
Tara?
sadly, it is water. I'll wait till Professor Quentin returns before we move. You know, our drinking period is Christmas Eve to my birthday, so we're getting ready. But this is water, sadly. But Liam, congratulations. That's lovely.
Oh, thank you. This is a cup of tea, by the way. Yeah, I'm still in the same job. I got promoted in August earlier this year. Yeah, this year. When was August? It was only like 4 months ago.
It was,
Um,
mate.
yeah, it feels like a lifetime because I've been a program director. So, my lovely friend, and colleague Alison, who some of you know, moved to a readership at another university. And then shortly afterwards, I took over as program director of sociology and criminology in our institution. So but it's like the clap's a bit of a slow clap because it's like the sheer amount of work and the sheer amount of unrecognized line management that you have to do with colleagues is absolutely crazy. Um, and especially like when very senior figures kind of shy away from having difficult conversations and you've got to facilitate them. So I'm currently having regular meetings with Alison on the phone and saying, how did you handle that situation, Alison? Like, can you just tell us, please? So yeah, there's that going on. And I think that this would make an absolutely amazing piece to write up actually about managing regional universities in really difficult times, especially when your characteristics, your protected characteristics, diverse characteristics are kind of stacked up against you, in case not being taken seriously within the academy. So I'm finding that a little bit. But my writing is actually, I've just downloaded a paper that we've been writing with my ex-PhD supervisor, which is looking at loneliness and social isolation across the life course. So we've got 5 data sets. We've got my PhD research. We've got contract research that we did with women in Indonesia and Mexico during the COVID-19 pandemic. We've got a group of women who took part in a consultancy group in Leicestershire, and also an older people's project that was done about 6 or 7 years ago. So we've mined all of that together, and it's been on the slow burner for the last 18 months, but it's finally come together. So we're going to be submitting it first week of January. So I written the discussion yesterday. I'm contributing to a chapter with the Dean of Research at my current institution. We're working on a global labour market survey. And then there's my own stuff, one article under review. I've got a book chapter with Sage Global Handbook of Youth Studies that I still need to write. That's due in March. And I've also got my book, The Big Project, which is due in 2026 with Emerald Publishing, which I was given a contract about 2 or 3 months ago, signed it, and I've got to deliver on that. So there's absolutely loads to do and a house to sort out and my relationship with my partner to kind of like not let suffer through this as well. So
No,
yeah,
now,
all of
Liam,
that.
we might be able to help you. We've got Jack and I on the call here. Now, the challenge with what you've just said there, and again, I didn't predict we'd be having these conversations, but Liam, when you've signed a contract, so for example, that chapter that's due in March, look at Jack. So unfortunately, you might be wanting, like Thomas, I'm going to do my low-hanging fruit, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to send this out. The problem is when you've got the contracts, they have to be at the top of the whiteboard. So I'd almost put, the contracted research as in a different colour. So the thing that's due in March, you have no alternative. That must be done first. You may not feel like writing it, but you got to write it. And poor Jamie saw me doing the failure book. It's like that was a deadline. It was 18-hour days. I might have felt like scratching my bum or having a bit of a dance around the kitchen. That's got to get delivered. So the challenge is, Liam, so in some ways, the next 18 months of your life is not your own in terms of publishing. The contracts determine the timeline. Talk to me, mate.
And also, as well, just a few developments. The regional universities in the United Kingdom, especially in England, the funding's been cut again. So they had all these high hopes for the new government that was formed in the United Kingdom over the summer. The Labour Party got in power over here, but it's a very different government, and they've said that they're not going to be bailing out universities, and we've got a constant stream of voluntary severances. So it's like having to manage that, having to manage colleagues' sheer panic, and also my own, like I need to pay my bills. So there's that kind of hanging on in the background, which is kind of a morale sucker.
Yeah, and look, Liam, in some ways, I can not only help you with that, but I can, personally and professionally, but I can also help you intellectually on that. As I was talking about with Jack yesterday and this morning, I'm doing a series of articles on regionality and regional universities. And in fact, I've got a piece at the top of my whiteboard, which is the failure of regional universities. So I'm doing that work right now. And the failure of supporting regional universities in the United Kingdom has been in existence really since the RAE, particularly, because the RAE was brought into existence to take money off that which is not the Russell Group. And they sort of failed, and they had another go with the REF. And again, that sort of failed with their pockets of excellence. And they're now just doing it brutally in terms of a repressive state apparatus. So it hasn't worked. Go, Liam.
If we go for the Alpha-Saurian oppressive state apparatus, they're basically saying, hi, you're in a regional university, so we're going to legislate you not having research time at all. Like, we're just going to completely take it off you because we don't think that you should be doing that kind of work. And it also speaks to us as well in the United Kingdom, because there is a lack of governance as well and what really scares me and what really worries me is if anyone's like spoke to me recently, I submitted a big grant with one of the big funders in the UK about 6 months ago, and it was rejected, and the industrial partner allegedly took that proposal to another university and got it funded. So the governance of industrial partners as well is something that is completely, waterproof in the UK at the moment. So I'm just dealing with that at the moment on top of everything else.
Can I say, Liam, that helps us enormously for our colleagues in Aotearoa, New Zealand and Australia. That helps us enormously because there's no doubt we are so in love with industry partners. It's like when in doubt, is there an industry partner? And yet sort of they're being allowed to be sort of feral capitalists. We will just take any money from anywhere for any purpose, right? So
Yeah,
that's a
pretty
great
much.
argument about how not to handle it. Go, Liam.
Yeah, it's doing what when my colleague said what had happened to us. She didn't tell me for a number of weeks because she was so upset about it, but she knew that I'd be also very upset as well, and my recourse would be slightly different approach. I'd go back to my North Manchester roots in terms of addressing this, which probably wouldn't be welcomed in universities. They're just doing this really aggressive neoliberalist model, like where they're taking it as they're taking us as competitors who tender for them. And it's
Yeah.
like, and with organizations that are meant to have an ethos of social justice, this is very, very concerning.
So, Liam, I think what we've captured here is so astonishing, and we're so proud of you. We are clear that probably the next year is going to be very hard on you with the research that you've been contracted to write with these complicated leadership roles. So that's your year, and we're hoping then to 2026 that you have the flexibility that Thomas and Shay have talked about. So maybe that's a plan once the book's written for Emerald. Emerald.
It's Emerald, yeah. Lovely
Wonderful.
Emerald,
And
you
they're wonderful.
suggested.
Yeah, they're wonderful publishers. Great process. There's no worries at all. But once that book's done and delivered, then you've got the freedom that I think Thomas and Shay are enacting. And I think you deserve it, and that'll help your brain a bit, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm co-director of research at the moment in my school, because we've kind of had a vacuum where three really good researchers have left, and as a result, people have had to assume those roles. And I don't know whether it'll be an interim, whether they'll get a professor, from somewhere else who can, be the star in shining lights. But it's at the moment a lot of the heavy kind of writing work and kind of governance work is on me and another colleague.
Yeah. And Liam, again, old head on young shoulders. Take those opportunities when you can, Liam, because they will lead to an associate dean research role. They will lead you the right age. You happen to be the right gender to have a leadership trajectory. So I believe, and Jack, correct me, I think it's worth Liam's time to take those opportunities because he's the right man, right place. And in the regional universities, Liam, the movement is faster. The movement is more dynamic between roles. Jack, have I offered him incorrect advice there?
Oh, never. Absolutely on spot. Regional universities, there's so many opportunities there. It's like when I worked in regional newsrooms, the trajectory was faster and at a bigger angle, a greater angle. So grab hold of those opportunities. Absolutely. You just have to make sure they're the ones that you want to do. Don't take those jobs that, no one else wants to do because they're the things that will drag you down. But yeah, Tara's advice is absolutely spot on.
Research governance, Liam. Research governance. Do it.
Thank you, Tara, and thank you as well, Jax. I also think and I know I'm taking up a bit of time here, but in regional universities, the scary thing is that there's a disrespect to the doctorate in some spaces, and that's what's really I put at the top of my agenda, and it's been labeled, oh, you're one of these snobs, and it's like, no, snobbery is not kind of academic standards, they're the basics.
You are absolutely right. Maintain that, Liam, and you've got all of us around you to care for you. And any issues on research governance, research integrity, the right group of people around you, and we adore you, okay? You can do this, and you are exactly the human being that we need in a leadership position in our universities. Correct, colleagues? Do I get a hell yeah? Hell yeah. Thank you, Thomas. Yeah. And look, I've seen the chat's been going absolutely feral. And just for a change, one of my favourite people in the universe from the People's Republic of Tasmania, Sophia has been sending messages and so forth. Sophia, tell me, how are you, gorgeous? And what's happening? I see something about an edited collection. Is that the same edited collection we talked about 6 months ago? Talk to us, Sophia.
It is, and hi everyone. It's so lovely to see you all again. I've been missing you so much. This is a little Christmas miracle. Thank you, Tara. Um, yes, yeah, it's the same edited collection. I'm trying to push it through as quickly as possible, and my authors have all been fantastic. So I've got I should have a full draft manuscript in a couple of weeks actually. So it's been super fast, which is great. But yeah, I was just wondering about how to position it on the whiteboard. So I'll obviously be writing the introduction, so I can put that as a publication, but then there are sort of, how you would incorporate the sort of the editing tasks into the board, or if you just would keep those separate.
Look, it's a really good point. What I would do is I would list your introduction, which you're writing. If you're also writing the conclusion, your conclusion. I think we talked about, Sophia, you were writing the linking components as well. Is that right, between the sections? Was that right?
Not for this one, no. I think we do. What I've done is we've done an internal exchange, so everyone's read the other chapters, so that we can get that kind of cohesion built in from the start.
Brilliant. Right. So what I do, Sophia, is the work you're writing. So the introductions on the board, the conclusions on the board, and then list the book itself. As the editorial work you're doing. And those of us that have edited books know the incredible hard yakka that's involved. And I would like to look at poor Joe going, yes. And I would like to apologise on behalf of all Australians in universities everywhere that the treatment of the edited collection is an absolute disgrace, and people have no understanding about the scope and scale of the work that's involved, but it's on the CV. We all know the work that's gone into that, Sophia. So have your work and list it separately on your CV, mate. So have the edited book with your role, and then the introduction and the conclusion and anything else you've done is in the book chapter section of the CV.
Fantastic, thank you. And just while I'm hogging the mic, I just wanted to share just something that I've added to my whiteboard. Actually, it's not going to work because I've got a virtual background, but in my to be published section, I've just used color coding to separate things where I've had the abstract accepted but haven't written the article yet, and then I'm using a separate color for ideas that I haven't kind of found a home for yet. I don't know if that's helpful for anyone.
That's so brilliant. And again, see, your expertise helps me because I'm not in disciplines where an abstract would be accepted. So that didn't even cross my mind. So you've helped people enormously there. That is just absolutely brilliant. And, it was funny watching my old video back, for this gig, just to make sure I still remember who I was in my multiple personalities. And I didn't realise that actually I've added colour in the last few years, that for 20 years I just had black. It was just a goth board. And then the colours made it easier for me to track the movement. So I think Sophia's point on colour is crucial there. You rock, Sophia. Keep in touch with us. And look, we need to go to the other man of the moment, I think. The year has been astonishing for Josh. So Josh sent us a beautiful email yesterday. We love you, Josh. You've had, great job. It's all happening. What's your whiteboard look like, Josh? Because, you had so much moving. What's going on, mate?
Everyone, so good to see everybody. Sorry if I look a bit dead. It's a
You look
frosty
gorgeous.
5-ish in the morning. No, it's been a really nice year. I think I ended up getting into work in September, and so I'd spent a lot of the year doing all the stuff I wanted to do. So I got the thesis chapters finished up, and I worked on, all the really big picture kind of spicy things that I thought wouldn't be too acceptable to be publishing while I had a workplace affiliation. All the things I wanted to be doing with the meta research, the education pieces. But it turns out the job's actually really nice. So they still expect output, but I'm a free range hen now, I think. So I get the sunlight and I get to walk around and, find my own direction. And it's been a really fun environment. I look after a lot of research training for clinicians. And so there's been a lot of projects where we kind of design them together and walk together. So it's been a bit of a shotgun spray year in terms of what I've produced. So I've tried to go a lot narrower probably similar to Shay actually,
I was
and
going to
focus a
say.
lot on what I want to do. Go back to my roots a little bit, and so dig right back into my addiction neuroscience work, and get a few really key publications moving with that, so that I can track towards, some kind of grant application or have a bit of a story there with it. So I don't look too much like the hot mess that I am. If someone checks my Google Scholar, there should be some sort of line there.
And look, Josh, with the great work you're doing on clinical education, again, as I've got a lot of mates at the moment doing incredible work in social work in this area. That's why I'm so focused on it, because their research is so interesting in that area. Are you thinking that there may be some publishing in, the scholarship of supervision in clinical ed? There is a big chunk of journals on clinical ed, mate.
Absolutely. I think I've used a lot of stuff from third space learning support, the learning development literature, and pulled it into a hospital setting, basically, since we're working in a research department. So it's sort of the capability building, but we're guides on the side rather than being clinicians ourselves. So it is that.
And Josh, going into the year, you're feeling, obviously it's very early and you look, again, terribly glamorous, but are you feeling going into 2025 ready to rumble? So you and Damien, this is the moment?
Yeah, good.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, fine. We're terribly proud. We're terribly proud of you. So while Josh was speaking, I'm sure we were all also drawn to Kelly, and a deep fixation with Kelly's whiteboard. So Kelly, could you demute, because I'm slightly fixated both on you and the whiteboard. You've got sort of blobs of colour too. What's happening, Kel?
I've got a bunch of different grants, and I'm just tracking, have I done enough for each of the grants? So I have these little things that go into the grants, right, of when publications are going to come out. So I'm just marking up in green which grant they belong to see, are they going to match up with what I said I would do, so that I don't get told off by the Royal Society or whoever the funder is. Yeah.
So your whiteboard, that's a busy whiteboard, girlfriend. So are you finding that the whiteboard and the tracking of the grants, that they're dovetailing, they're working?
Yeah, what I realized just this morning as I was doing it is that I've finished almost everything in one grant that I have to do, but I have the beautiful data that I can use forevermore to write things I want to write. And then the other one, which is it's sort of a bit like the ARC, what do you call it? It's the early career discovery type one.
Yeah.
That one, I've got a bunch of things that I'm planning to do next year, and I figure if I get all those done next year, then I've got another grant that's starting. I'll kind of have ticked off all of that, and that's one where it's all sole authored in my own fun things, so it's going to be a fun year.
And so, Kel, that's amazing. So you see how brilliant she is. She's got the grant timelines, working with the whiteboard, has got her fun stuff that she's got control over. And Liam, this links in with the comment we were making about yours. There's the less fun stuff that you haven't got control over that you've got to do, and just making it mesh.
Yeah, and then I've also tried to mark up who I'm writing with, and then I've tried to circle when it's a sole authored one, because I have a goal of keeping up one sole authored article a year, just to keep my own intellectual trajectory going, because I tend to kind of go with whoever I'm going with, and then I feel like you kind of lose, like, what's the big thing I'm trying to do over my 20-year career is to work a particular question out. So each year I try and do one sole authored, just to keep it ticking along. Even though I actually really like writing with other people, I probably prefer that, but I think it's important to kind of know who you are too.
Kel, you've got me very, very emotional, because it's been and of course I live in the old goth zone, and I'm writing a lot of stuff on claustropolitanism at the moment. So I'm living in the death zone, right? But Kel, it's been a really dreadful year for research integrity, or indeed a dreadful year for research misconduct. As we all know, retraction watch, more retractions this year than any other year in the history of higher education. Lots of very, very bad things happening in a series of universities in Australia, many of which will be revealed next year. But it does my heart, as an old lady close to death, Kel, it does my heart so good. I can't express to you how impressed I am with you, how proud I am of you, that the future of higher education is in your hands, and you understand research integrity, you are plotting it, it's a proper partnership. It's just amazing, Kellen. I thank you for that.
Thank you. That means a lot at the end of, like you said, a hard year.
Yeah, but it matters, mate, that the authenticity and the integrity at the end, when we die, that's all we got. All the grants and all the prizes and stuff, no one gives a damn. But if you've ripped somebody off in 2026, they will never forget that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and the communities that we partner with for the research, that the deepest obligation I feel is to produce something that they can read, that's sort of, something that's beautiful for each project, that's sort of for them, and it's short and it's fun and it's, sometimes self-published, but just so there's something to give back, and they are the ones that I try and prioritize first. Yeah.
And Kel, again, these are the times we're living in. That's the time of nitros, non-traditional research outputs, the diversity of dissemination protocols. I mean, we can run our lives by Scopus, but let's make a different decision.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Because Scopus may not be Scopus.
Or they'll just change whether they're paying attention to it next year, or, they can't, here in New Zealand, cancelling the PBRF, all of a sudden, things that you thought you were doing for whatever, brownie points, the points are no longer there. So what's the point in planning your career around that too strictly? I know we have to pay a little bit of attention to it, but
Kel, I think you've captured that brilliantly. Again, in Aotearoa New Zealand, some very serious funding decisions have been made that have hashtag destroyed lives. But again, have they destroyed lives, Kel, or have they just reminded us all to remind ourselves, what do we stand for? What is important to us? Who is the audience for our research? And while we can believe in governance and integrity, governments that stop governance should not have our respect.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are the best, Kel. You've added an enormous amount to how we think about the whiteboard too. That's brilliant. And look, I should just touch base with beautiful Joanna, because Joanna, what time is it with you, Joanna? Where are you? What time is it? You're amazing.
I'm in the UK. It's nearly 10.
Oh, now how are you going? Can I say you look gorgeous? I'm loving. You look like you're from a lifestyle program. That's a great background. But Joanna, what are you working on at the moment? What's the priority for you when you wake up tomorrow morning?
I've just finished a master's and signed up for a doc prof, because it's a two-step thingy.
Yeah.
But before I did that, I got a book publishing deal with Routledge to turn my master's into a book. I've just gone priority on my list because I've got a year basically to write it. So yeah, but I also want to get a quick and dirty paper out of it because it will get old quickly, is your phrase. Because it was quite new stuff that I was looking at, something that's not been studied before. You need to get it sorted.
Beautiful.
But I don't have any support, so that's why I'm here. Because
you got me, you got us forever. What's the field, Joanna? What's the area? You talk about a prof doc. What's the area?
Yeah. Well, it's health, kind of between health and emotional well-being, and it's around eye movement techniques for processing disturbing memories, and yeah, it's cool stuff.
Right, so Jane's face and my face, I hope, conveyed the level of excitement. So, Joanna, in terms of the whiteboard for you, you're in a very unusual situation. Normally, you don't have the fabulous book, the Routledge book, at this juncture. All credit to you. Jack said, when you get an opportunity, grab that football, right? So your whiteboard will look a bit different. I agree with you. Get the quick and dirty article out. Priority number one, get it out. And I wouldn't be too bothered about the tier one, to be honest. I'd be get the damn thing out, right? You've heard Nobel Prize winners say in the last couple of years, ignore the tiering. None of their Nobel work actually appeared in what the journals have been called tier one. So I think there's a lesson there for all of us. So get that out. But Joanna, darling, if it helps you, at this stage of your career, work out the contents page of the book. You might already have it. This is what it looks like. And each chapter lists that as a separate thing. Okay.
Mhm.
And so you've actually got the full tracking of a book, because writing a book is incredibly difficult. And, you know, writing your first book is incredibly difficult. So have every chapter up for yourself and cascade that down the board for me. All right.
Mhm.
And just, if you can, give yourself a timeline. So 6 weeks to write a chapter is about, I mean, that's going for it, and you'll get tired, but is that a possibility?
It's going to need to be, yes.
I thought so, but at least if you speak the words. I looked at your face, I was like, but 6 weeks, it is doable, but you need to go into it like as Jack said, like a journalism, you know, this is a deadline and this has to be done. And once it's written, the drafting can take place.
Exactly, yeah.
It
is book 2, but it's the first academic book. So
then you know exactly. A book is a book is a book. The academic book is just a little. I mean, they're just a little bit more finicky with referencing, and modality. But no, if you've got that experience, that's crucial, Joanna. But what I would do, I'd use the whiteboard for chapters rather than just list the book, because that's too big.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah.
You are
Awesome.
amazing. Oh, and thank you for staying up with, and you're with us forever, darling. You contact us anytime. You've got support around you. All right.
Awesome.
And look,
Thank you
I'm
very much.
conscious of the time. I'd like to just finish with 2 people if I can, AJ and the beautiful Cecily, because Cecily sort of started our story off here. But AJ, good morning, Angel, from regional South Australia. You're in the final 6 months of your PhD with a really, really difficult supervisor who's making your life a living hell. She's an absolute cow, I've heard. And so how are you thinking? Because obviously we've got a publishing planned for you, but how does publishing operate with the final 6 months of a doctorate?
Look, I think that because I've done so much, I'm really clear where I want to polish and add in. And I think the things that need adding in will, I'm just making notes here, turn into those articles. We've talked about it before, but I think since I'm looking up the references anyway, I just version them.
If you can do that, it's crucial. And Josh, I mean, your advice on that's crucial. If you know the publications are coming and you're sort of double dipping as you're writing the exegetical work, it saves a lot of time, doesn't it, Josh?
Absolutely. I think too, AJ, like if you feel the need to procrastinate as well, I used to procrastinate by formatting some of the chapters into the pubs as I was going. So I was like, I'm not working on the thesis, but I was still sort of working on something. So it was that weird kind of liminal psychological space. That can be a good zone to get the pubs going into. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's good.
Because I've been writing the novel so much, I've just had to get myself back into the exegetical writing. And even though it's not that long since I did a whole heap of it, thank you very much for all your help. I just did find the transition quite surprisingly difficult. So one of the things I need to think about is that code switching.
Again, brilliant advice, and the whiteboard can probably help organise that, AJ. And by the way, for colleagues that saw AJ's wonderful mid-thesis review, she's finished the novel. She's finished the novel. And she's at 33,000 words on the exegesis. So I think we might even be closer than 6 months, to be honest. But AJ, very important, because obviously we're going to get the novel published quickly too. So that's really got to be on the whiteboard as well. Phenomenal. And look, I'll finish off with Cecily, who started us off. We've just met Cecily, after us having sort of a digital connection for some years. Cecily, what are you thinking you're going to write on now? Where do we finish off with you, my love? Oh, mute, my angel. Can I help you? Demute. Can I demute you?
I'm just bringing my second PhD to completion, and what I haven't been part of the system. I haven't got a political mind. I've got a theoretical mind, neurodiverse, so that's why I haven't been part of the system. But I've been working on this. It's my life's work, and I've developed a theory and philosophy of futures intelligence, where people can think across transsystemically across classical and quantum systems. in terms of, so it's really about giving people the ways of thinking that can break open binary systems and get beyond them and use diffraction to break open their thinking. So, this is applied research because I had been guiding somebody for 10 years and a group for a couple of years, and I've gathered data. So this second PhD has been about applied research. So I'm ready now, and it's at the editor. So it's right at the very final stage at the with the editor. But we've been talking about producing an academic book and also a book for general audience. So it's I'm sort of here to start, I'm ready now to launch myself into, with other people who've been in institution and work in institutions, just to learn how I'll launch this book, how I'll progress it, things like that. So.
Well, I think it's tremendous. And again, the idea, Cecily, that you're coming into it noting there are 2 books with different audiences, you're already 30 years ahead of where most universities are anyway. But I think, Cecily, you finished us off with where I hoped we might go today. And Cecily, of course, guides us through it. That one of the gifts, I think, of the whiteboard for our colleagues who are neurospicy, and I have enormous respect for our neurospicy crew, is that it does, of course, organise things. You're seeing movement and you've got control over where your ideas are playing and where they're going to land. So for colleagues on all sorts of interesting intellectual journeys, and Cecily has told us about her second doctorate and its success and the 2 books that are coming from that, this system can actually help organise and inspire. I think that's sort of where we will finish today, colleagues, is I thank you for sharing this hour with me. For all our colleagues that have joined us in time zones all around the world, we love you, we support you, we care for you, and never ever question that your ideas don't matter, that no one will read them. If one person reads your work, if one person listens to a podcast or watches a video that you've made, that is a transcendent moment for that human. And my goodness me, at the end of our lives, a few moments of transcendence perhaps show that we haven't done too badly. So colleagues, we adore you. Jamie and I wish you all a wonderful Christmas and New Year for your family and for your friends. We'll be working through Christmas and New Year, so keep in touch. I'm aware there's a lot of colleagues that are on their own, but you're not on your own. And that's why we've run this whiteboard gig this week. We'll care for you, we'll look after you, and together, let's change the world one sentence at a time. Colleagues, I thank you for everything that you are. Peace out. See you on the other side, team. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Love yous.